Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Mrs. Mummy PhD podcast. I am your host, Michelle Gibbs, and I am passionate about helping scholarly mamas like you navigate your journeys with purpose so you can achieve your life and academic goals without sacrificing what matters. The reality is that scholarly mama life is multidimensional. We're scholars, yes, but we're also mothers, wives, and so much more with whole lives outside of academia. So how do we successfully navigate all this? Well, first, we need the space to embrace this unique blend. Only then can we begin the important work of becoming purposefully whole. And part of my own purposeful work is to create a space for us as scholarly mamas to grow, to reflect, and to become everything that we were meant to be. So, mama, are you in? Fabulous. Let's begin. These are our journeys of becoming. Hey, mamas, welcome back to the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I never take for granted that you have chosen to tune into this podcast, and I'm so grateful that you've done that. I'm so grateful you're here. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, and thank you for supporting Mrs. Mummy PhD and Scholarly Mamas. So in today's episode, I just wanted to share 8 practical tips to give your PhD meaning beyond academia. So one of the things that I ask myself several times on my PhD journey, which I have recently completed, is, does my PhD have meaning? I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure we've all asked ourselves this question at some point on our journey through academia. And it may seem a strange question, but when was the last time you felt like your PhD had real meaning and significance beyond the academic landscape? When you began your PhD, you probably had wild dreams about changing the world and the impact that you would have by the end of your PhD. You'd probably dreamt about how you would change the world with your groundbreaking research, right? Well, that's probably until you started, because for some reason that PhD grind had its way of wearing you down. It wore you down to the point of merely surviving what eventually becomes an isolating pilgrimage of sorts. And especially if you're also a mama who naturally wears many hats, it's even harder to not find yourself firmly planted in survival mode. Many of us feel so completely worn out from juggling PhD life with real life. And as we seek harmony and perspective along the way, we forget that our PhDs can offer us more than just a terminal degree certificate or even a doctoral graduation photo opportunity. So even if you're sailing through your PhD, said no one ever, you can still lose sight of the bigger picture while in the midst of it all. So does it matter if my PhD has meaning beyond the degree itself? Well, many may ask, why does it matter that my PhD has meaning beyond the accolade itself? After all, isn't the title doctor enough of an achievement? You see, with many PhD students at risk of mental health challenges, including depression and psychological distress, according to Levesque et al. 2017, it's crucial that this journey offers some deeper meaning beyond the degree itself. In fact, Levesque and colleagues found work-family conflict to be a major predictor of poor mental health among those doing PhDs. PhD students in this study commonly experience feeling under constant pressure, having sleep issues due to worry, feeling unhappy and depressed, feeling unable to overcome challenges or even enjoy their day-to-day lives. So taking all of this into account, the outlook seems pretty bleak for mothers pursuing PhDs, as we naturally find ourselves at the heart of the work-family juggle struggle. So it's even more important as scholarly mamas that we take intentional steps to make this journey as mental health friendly for ourselves as we possibly can. So what can we do about it? Of course, there are so many things that the Academy as a whole can do to support mothers in academia, as discussed in a recent article in Nature. But if you're in need of mental health support from a trained professional, please do seek help from your university or your general practitioner immediately. There is absolutely no shame in looking after yourself, mama, and being mentally healthy is a huge part of that. I am not a mental health professional, so let's just put that out there. I'm not a mental health professional by any means. So in this episode, I just want to share a few tips that I've picked up along the way on how you can rise above the slump and add even more meaning and personal value to that PhD that you're working your tush off for. So here are 8 practical ways that you can give your PhD meaning beyond academia. So the first is to maximize opportunities for personal growth. It's imperative that we focus on our personal growth and development as scholarly mamas. Everything changed for me the moment I decided to focus on my personal growth journey during my PhD. Yes, I was there to do the research and to continue to widen the knowledge base in my field. But in the process of managing all of the ups and downs of that, I've been able to develop my perseverance, grit, persistence, resilience, confidence even, as I overcame so many setbacks. My PhD journey has been atypical in many ways, and along the way I've had countless challenges, from funding issues, ethics delays, changing methodology, changing supervisors, interruptions, the pandemic, and so much more. But I chose to frame my challenges in the context of my personal growth. And now that I've submitted my thesis and successfully passed my Viva/oral defense, I can honestly look back and say that I am actually grateful for all of those challenges. They've made me so much stronger and have also given me skills that I can apply to my life in general and my future endeavors. So, mama, seek opportunities that will help you to grow on the inside too. As for the challenges, reframe those in a way that reminds you just how far you've come as an individual. Remember, when PhD life throws you lemons, you can make lemonade. So the second way that you can turn your PhD into something more meaningful is through real world application. So it's important to seek opportunities to make meaningful contributions to your field for greater impact. Perhaps you're able to translate your research practically for your clinical or other colleagues. Maybe you're able to offer practical training sessions to apply your research findings in an educational context. Maybe you can write recommendations for practice and actually share them with those working in the field through your professional networks and regulatory bodies. Professional newsletters, department meetings, email lists, networks, and groups are all avenues of possibility here. Whatever your field of work, focus on the practical application and relevance of your research. How can it improve practice? How can it improve the lives of those it sought to benefit in the first place? Find meaning in the impact that your research can have in the real world. The third way that you can give your PhD more meaning is to turn your passion into a project. This one applies especially before you begin your PhD, or if you're early on in your journey with some flexibility of your topic. So what are you passionate about? What difference would you like to make through your research? This could be an opportunity to turn that passion into some aspect of your PhD project. It's great if you have the privilege of shaping your research project as I did. So rather than having to slot into a pre-existing research agenda, perhaps you can explore options for bringing your passion to life through your research. I am so incredibly grateful that I was able to identify a clinical problem and generate questions that I wanted the answers to. I then sought out grant funding to answer those questions for my PhD. So not only was I researching an area of genuine clinical and professional interest to me, I was also getting a PhD in the process of doing so. For me, that's a win-win. So, are you passionate about race inequality in maternal health care, for example? You can focus your research ideas around this. Do you want to see improvements in the care of elderly patients with renal failure, for example? You can make this the subject of your research. So, once you've thought through this, and you have the opportunity to, then you can seek funding that genuinely aligns with your professional curiosity to allow you to turn your passion into your PhD project. So, the fourth way that you can give your PhD more meaning is to leverage the skills that you gain during your PhD. You don't only gain research knowledge and skills during a PhD. Of course, you can leverage those to advance your research career with the expert knowledge that you've gained, if that's what you desire to do. But you've also gained other skills during your PhD. You're data-driven. You can discern strong evidence from anecdotal accounts and unsubstantiated claims. You have developed skills in problem solving. After all, this whole PhD is about solving existing problems through the development of relevant and meaningful conclusions. It's about coming up with recommendations after a critical analysis of your research findings and the existing literature. You have research skills that can be applied to other areas of scholarship. Knowing how to take initiative and remain steadfast throughout the marathon of a journey is part of your skill set. You've had to be so creative in designing your research studies, collecting and analyzing relevant data, and disseminating research findings to both receptive and critical audiences. And with those skills, you could put that creativity to good use in business, entrepreneurship, writing and publishing, content creation, and other areas that bring value to others. You have many transferable skills that no one can take from you, but it's your responsibility to learn how to leverage them. We are officially halfway through, and I want to continue with the fifth point, which is that for deeper PhD meaning, you can share your experience. And this one is really dear to my heart, as it's exactly why I started my platforms. During a PhD, it's tempting to feel like you are the only one struggling through this journey. The knowledge and experience that you're gaining can feel isolated and void of purpose. This is particularly true if you're also a mama and have to juggle this PhD journey with real life and everything that comes with that. Well, I am here to remind you, mama, that your experience is not in vain. There are so many of us that can relate to what you are going through, but we can't relate to what we don't see. So it's important to get visible and share your journey with others. You may have talents and hobbies outside of your PhD like photography, pottery, or even candle making and more that you can absolutely share with others. I started my platforms for mamas just like you to let you know that you're not alone. I worked incredibly hard on completing my part-time PhD over 8 years, and I decided to step out of my comfort zone and begin the journey of starting this platform as well. My hope is that I can share the lessons that I've learned from years of PhD motherhood to help others like you. Your experience is not in vain. You can give your PhD meaning by using your experience to help others at the start of their journey. And if you're further along, they can definitely learn from you. I honestly believe that no experience, whether good or bad, is ever wasted. So whatever your PhD journey has taught you, you can use that to help others. The sixth point that I want to share with you about how you can give your PhD more meaning outside of academia is to collaborate with others for more impact. If you want to give your PhD meaning, try collaborating on projects with others who share your vision. So this could be collaborating on projects that help others, as we discussed in the previous point. It could be building communities through webinars, guest blog posts, appearing as a guest on someone else's podcast, or building a supportive online community. Collaboration helps you to build a network of like-minded individuals who understand your journey and understand the purpose behind what you're doing. These are your people, so share the effort by working together. I've been so grateful to have met so many wonderful people who get my vision and who want to support me in that. It really helps to give the PhD journey more meaning and significance when you know that you're making a positive difference. Sometimes this requires you to start something new, but when you can do this in collaboration with others who appreciate your vision, it lightens the load. And suddenly this PhD journey takes on a whole new meaning. I am still working on this one, to be honest. As an introvert, it's so hard to put myself out there, but I can see how it could help me to find even deeper meaning and significance in my PhD experience. So the seventh way that you can turn your PhD into a more meaningful experience is to never stop learning. One thing that most people doing PhDs share is a love for learning. We love learning. There's no debate about that. We wouldn't be doing PhDs if we didn't. If that was not the case, why on earth would you put yourself through this experience? There are easier and less painful ways to make money and to build a career than doing a PhD. So if beginning your PhD didn't come from a love of scholarship, then you will quickly lose your motivation to keep going. Let's be clear, a PhD is no easy feat. Even if during the course of your PhD journey you realize that academia is not for you, your love for learning can still help you to grow. And this is true whether you're staying in or moving beyond academia after your PhD. Whether you're learning a new skill or staying focused on personal growth, promise me, Mama, that you will never, ever stop learning. And so the eighth and final way that you can give your PhD more meaning beyond academia is to use your analytical skill to innovate beyond PhD life. If you're a PhD researcher, you have learned how to ask questions and apply specific strategies to answer them. In my experience, I've had to creatively adapt novel methodologies to my own research studies for my PhD, and this required some degree of innovation and creative thinking. You too have acquired those skills, and you can thank your analytic, curious mind for that. Put it to good use by tapping into your creativity and using those transferable skills to innovate. This will help to give your PhD meaning beyond the confines of academia. It will allow you to apply your skills and natural curiosity to solving a variety of problems. So whether you're inventing a product, starting a business, proposing a collaboration, designing a course, starting a blog or podcast, writing a book, building an empire, or answering your 5-year-old out of this world questions that boggled even the cleverest mama's mind, you can innovate. Your analytical skills can help you to find real-world solutions with creativity and innovation. So just to bring this all to a close, I want you to remember that your PhD can have meaning beyond just the qualification itself, but it's up to you to make it so. You can leverage your PhD experience for the greater good, especially if you're a scholarly mama. Perhaps it feels like there's even more at stake. You didn't choose to do a PhD to just add another degree to your collection, did you? You want to have impact in the world and you want to be a role model for your kids. You're also doing your PhD for yourself and you want to believe that it has some personal meaning beyond the accolade. Well, I hope that these 8 suggestions for giving your PhD journey meaning and significance have been helpful. Which one resonates most with you? Drop me a DM on Instagram at Mrs. Mummy PhD and let me know. Until next time, Mama, I'm sending you, as always, lots of love and gratitude. I'll speak to you in the next one. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Mrs. Mummy PhD podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and if you did and you want in on this movement, why not head over to mrsmummyphd.com. You can join the waitlist for our exclusive community of smart, purposeful, scholarly mamas. We'd love to see you on the inside. Remember, mama, these are our journeys of becoming.